Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call this meeting of the Monongalia County Commission to order. It is Wednesday, July 10th, 2024, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please let the record reflect that all three commissioners are present. First item on the agenda is consent and approval with our county administrator, Renetta McClure. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Renetta.
We have 18 exonerations for you to approve today for $6,160.83, 26 corrected tax statements for $58.79, minutes for July 3rd, 2024, vouchers, general county fiscal year 24, $185,648.63, coal severance $10,000, dog tax $39,401.71, general school $20,291.19, home confinement $66,902.49, Chestnut Ridge Park $2,225.84, Camp Muffley $2,115.43, Mason-Dixon Park $1,187, Mon County Center $2,621.03, recreation levy $1,218.65, assessor's valuation at $956.46, payroll $17,535.77, fiscal year 25, general county $1,157,8109, magistrate court $131.91, Chestnut Ridge Park $3,383.72, Camp Muffley $1,114.06, Mason-Dixon Park $1,215.60, Mon County Center $238.95, payroll $1,812,532.50, Harmony Grove TIF $164,323.25, ARPA $368.34, purchasing card vouchers, general county fiscal year 24, $12,449.73, Chestnut Ridge Park $730.86, Camp Muffley $746.26. Also purchasing card vouchers, but this is for fiscal year 25, general county $14,880, Mason-Dixon Park $91.53, Mon County Center $70.18, and assessor's valuation $850. That is a grand total for fiscal year 24 of $364,031.05. For fiscal year 25, $3,156,281.13 for a grand total of $3,520,312.18. Position vacancies for boards and authorities are listed on the website, and fiduciary orders for July 10th, 2024.
I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And just a note, John, I printed the consent agenda thing, but I didn't include the additional column that was added for this year, so I printed a new one. So if you'd make sure that the new one goes in the sheet when you send it down, or take it down. Thank you.
You're also, for fiduciary, you also have the first order for the notice of administrative closure of delinquent and unprogressed states that you all need to approve. The hearing's set for September 18th.
Okay.
So we need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and to back up a little bit, in July, you're required to do a budget revision that requires the auditor's office approval for coal severance for fiscal year 25 to account for any money remaining at the end of fiscal year 24. We had estimated that coal severance would carry over $150,000. The actual balance is $623,787, so that's a difference of $473,787. So that has to be rebudgeted. And then, do you want me to go line by line? And
Sure, and just so the public understands that we deliberately keep that balance low because it did dip about 7-8 years ago significantly, and it caused a lot of budget revisions and strain on the general budget. So we deliberately push that number down. In good times when coal gets up, that number does pick up. We expect that. We do expect our number to be low. So it's by design that we keep that number low, just to make sure that we don't have any strain on our general budget. So anyhow, in regards to those dollars, that means we have another $473,787 that needs to be distributed. So would you go down the list of the list of
Sure.
the accounts we want to approve?
002401 County Commission will be increased by 100,000. 002431 Economic Development will be increased by 50,000. The contingency account maxes out at 10%. So we're going to transfer an additional 25,879 there to max out at 62,379. 809 Water will be increased by 117,400. We had to make a correction to the Fairs and Festivals line by $500. We are budgeting $30,008 in social services, which is account 950, and $150,000 to 956 homeless shelter.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the disbursements as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, she covered it pretty clearly.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. Okay. So that's the last of the consent agenda items?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Introduction, new employee personnel changes.
I don't believe we have any today.
Okay, seeing none. On to the next item on the agenda, comments from the public. We are now open to comments from the public session of the meeting. Anybody wishing to be heard, please raise your hand, come forward, and provide their name and address. All right, seeing none. And close comments from the public. Grants, Colleen Kuhn, Commission Office Manager.
Morning, Colleen.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, first thing I have is the VOCA grant application. The request amount is $176,518. So that's all you'll need to sign for that. Then I have requests for reimbursement. The first one is for the Saki grant Purpose Area 1, and that is in the amount of $18,886.88. And then the next one is Saki grant DNA Purpose Area 3, and that is in the amount of $11,883.59.
Great. Move to approve the president signing the grant documents as they've been presented.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Colleen.
Okay. Correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
I probably should make note that I did receive a proposal yesterday from Forrest at Mon EMS regarding I think you all received copies of that as well.
Yes.
Regarding the salary enhancement funds that were received from the state. You guys will need to review that and provide him with some feedback. I've already given him kind of a timeline on when that might be on the agenda if you're ready. So I know we're not having a meeting next week, so if you could provide some feedback either directly to him or to me, and I'll provide that to him.
Okay. Well, we've had some back and forth, and we went back to him to go back to his board. So I assume that he's addressed that, but I will take a look at it, and we can discuss it.
Yeah, there were some mandated questions that had to be answered, and that's what took this time, because we had to follow the guidelines.
I mean, unfortunately, the guidance from the state is gray, very gray. So we've been trying to work through all the nuances of
Yes.
those funds and how that needs to work. So
Okay.
Okay?
No other correspondence?
No.
Commissioner Boone, Commissioner Arnett?
No, sir.
Okay. Unfinished business, we have none. New business, consideration to issue letters of support for Libera and R.G. Holland to submit with their applications to the Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh Affordable Housing Program.
So move.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Really self-explanatory.
These are projects where they're submitting a grant application to this bank because they're providing low-cost
Right, and we need that.
low-cost housing, so we're certainly in support of that. So we have a
This
first,
is the project, I believe, in West Run area that,
it is.
right?
there's two of them.
Yeah.
Which one is this? Libera is the former Chestnut Ridge Elementary School at 1000 Stewartstown Road.
Oh, okay.
And the other one is in Westover. I don't have a specific
And-
address.
So,
I don't have anything on the second one, but on the first one, they've been working with us. They have an appropriate designation, and it's actually a good one because we've been struggling to fill that former building for a long time. This is like perfect for the zoning, and it is authorized by the state. So we are working with them hand in glove, trying to make that happen, and we've been helping them and waive the fee on the permit.
This
So
is the former Shriners building,
yes,
right at the corner,
right at the
bend
yeah,
in.
right at
oh,
the
right
corner.
at, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Our letter does state that they're working with the planning commission to
Right.
get the
Okay.
And it,
permits.
yeah, the only thing they need to do is that they need to have a project manager take, because I can't take on the project management role of that, which they did ask, but I can't really do that in my job. But we're doing everything else, and we're writing a letter of support.
Great.
for
Oh,
it.
good. Okay, thank you.
Andrew. I appreciate it. So we have first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. To consider for approval the request from Wells Fargo Corporate Investment Banking for the release and replacement of CUSIP, CUSIP number 31739VAA2.
Move to approve?
Second?
Second,
Do I have a second? amendment?
Second.
Okay. And this is a normal security that we have that's required. So it's just replacing the previous one and extending it. So we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Okay. This item is not on the agenda because with us not having a meeting next week, it kind of came in late, and we wanted to go ahead and I'll leave it to the commission if they want to take it up. But we have a certification form. It's another FHL Bank Pittsburgh application. It's like the letters, it's the same program as the letters of support. It's just they've sent in a different form that's required by the bank, and they're asking us to sign the document. So,
And this
Who
is
is
for
that?
Canyon Lake Apartments at 712 Canyon Road.
same thing,
Oh,
affordable
okay.
housing program.
Right.
You know, it's
So moved, yeah.
Second?
okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then the last item, also not on the agenda, is we received requisition number 92 for the University Town Center Economic Opportunity Development District subaccount. And with us not having a meeting next week, I'd leave it to the commission if you guys want to go ahead and take that up. That's the normal disbursement of the excise tax funds into the treasurer or trustee.
Trustee.
Move to approve?
Second,
Okay, Renata, you want to
The
read
the
read the announce?
requisition is for $896,877.44.
Just a little.
just a little bit.
Correct. And there was $1,006,018.05 in collections. There was another $2,581.32 in cash receipts not invested. So the total was $1,008,599.37. So you less the statutory lien of $100,000 and the tax administration fee of 1%. That's $9,140.61. That gets to the $877 number. $877.44 number available for debt service. And this is the first of the new year.
Right.
And looking back at the previous year,
Yeah.
the district collected about 11.59% more than the previous year.
Great.
So it's
good.
still projecting as we expected. Though, you know, we have projections of coverage out there as much as 125%. So we're still working in that direction, but it's still moving in the right direction. So do we have a motion to approve requisition number 92 for the University Town Center Economic Opportunity Development District subaccount?
Yes, so moved.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Okay, do we have any other stragglers? Okay. Next item on the agenda is reports from elected officials and/or department supervisors. Okay, seeing none. Reports from county commissioners. Jeff?
Just a couple. Hope everyone had a nice long weekend. Be cautious out on 68 today. There's two different spots where we've got some bridge work at the Pierpont exit. It's got traffic backed up to about the Cheat Lake Bridge coming, and you're coming westbound. It's backed up that way. Going east, it seems fine. And then there was a horrible accident with a tractor trailer right at the bridge at Earl Core Road. The truck burned and it was exploding, and they've had those two lanes on that bridge going west completely shut down. It may be open by now, but cars were being diverted around to get right back on the ramp and go across the bridge. So just be careful out there, and that's really all I've got today.
I have just a couple quick issues. I received a message from Mylan Park asking for volunteers to volunteer for the USA Diving Junior National Championships. It's from July 9th to August 7th, and if anyone's interested, to contact Mylan Park or mylanpark.org. You also get a free ticket, and you can do some other issues. We just really need some more volunteers out doing that. The second thing is, this Saturday I'll be participating in the Unforgiven Warriors West Virginia Wellness Forum, which is a really neat program that I hope people will go to. It's a panel on cultivating community wellness, and I'm very excited to represent the county commission on that. And the final thing is that I'm meeting today with Joe Abu, the new mayor of Morgantown, to discuss some mutual issues, and that should be very interesting. Thank you.
I
Yes.
just noticed that Senator Oliveria walked in. Mike, our meeting's moving pretty quickly. Did you have anything that you wanted to say under the
Okay, yes.
if
Great.
you
Move to
guys-
suspend the rules.
And go back to
Second.
the previous agenda item. We have
Okay.
a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Just a couple updates. The transportation issue that we've been working on together regarding the ditching.
Yeah, watch me.
Close over here. Okay, the project with the ditching done by private contractors. The contract that was let here in Monongalia County was $2.2 million by the Division of Highways to Anderson Excavating, and they have begun that work. Had a chance to speak with some of them
good.
along the side of the road yesterday, and so they're doing that ditching. The arrangement with the Division of Highways is that they will inspect that work to ensure that it's done to the standard of DOH. So that's going to occur. The one thing I wanted to report was, you know, these workers are obviously performing ditching oftentimes on both sides of the road amidst sometimes heavy traffic. Mm-hmm. And yesterday they were working on 119 South. And I just wonder if there could be any support from the sheriff's office. I'm not sure if we still have a sheriff police reserve or anything like that, but if there could be any support to try to slow some of that traffic down that's flying by them while they're trying to ditch out along the sides of the road. Two of the Anderson employees expressed to me concern, that the safety concern that was in place. Of course, they're doing flagging, but I don't know that they necessarily have all the resources that DOH has, but just something to look into if the sheriff's office could provide support. I'd like to see that.
Would you have a list of where they are, so then we can get that
I'll
to the
let you
media?
guys- yeah.
See if it's possible to get the
Yeah.
media so we can explain
Yeah.
this is going on at that time. Yeah, that could at least help.
Yeah, that would be helpful, I think, to
Yeah.
try to get people to slow down. I brought a check to you all to pass along to the Camp Mountaineer Boy Scouts program for problems with the roof of their main dining hall out there. And they do not have sufficient funds to finish that yet, but they're working on that. If there's any money that you all have available to support in that effort, I wanted to encourage you. You know, that is a very active place right now. There are troops in from different states around the country, and it's an active place. I think it brings, you know, it's a positive light for our county to have a facility like that, and to the extent that we all can work together to support it, I think is positive. Commissioner Arnett and I spent some time at Senior Monongalians working on senior citizen issues. We both took a turn as the president of the board out there, and have kind of, both of us have continued to watch after different senior issues. And one of the more recent senior issues that was brought to our attention was the pavilion at Westover, at the West Side Senior Center, and a need to replace a roof and some costs out there associated with that. Again, I wanted you all to encourage you to participate in that to the extent that you can, but I'm bringing you today a check for $13,500 to help do that. And to the extent that you all can help beyond that, we'd love to do that. I'm going to pass that on. It's a wonderful facility to allow our seniors to gather and be together, and so that one's helpful. Beyond that, just any other issues that you all want to work together on. I think we've made progress on the Bartlett House issue, and I've been in touch really with all of you on that. When I first learned, I believe it was late February, maybe early March, that the DHHR at the time, phasing out to Department of Human Services, the transition was occurring, did not approve funding for Bartlett. Kind of dug into that issue, discovered there were about 3 facilities in the state that were not funded that had historically been funded, and Bartlett was one of those. And so I reached out to the governor's office and said, whoa, time out. What changed here? Why all of a sudden aren't they getting funding? I remember at the time there was some confusion in the community that one group got funding instead, and it was unrelated. And the governor's office at the time agreed to make up that funding if any issues that existed with Bartlett could be addressed. And I do believe there was a different standard that was applied in that application process. And maybe Bartlett wasn't ready for that new standard and new rules and process. And so since then, obviously, a lot of things have happened, a lot of conversations. I know I've had conversations with Bartlett, WVU's government affairs folks have, city council has, you all have. The board, I think, there has been re-engaged. I think Nick Domenici has done yeoman's work trying to figure that out. We've had some resignations, we've had some firings, but I think it's all starting to come in the right direction. The Catholic Charities becoming involved as an administrative force, I think, is going to be helpful. And so I've renewed my request to the governor's office, gotten a green light there that they will help us fund some of this. It won't make up all of it, but right now it appears that the governor's office is going to come through the Department of Human Services with $167,000 to help with the administration. And I think what especially makes that important is the Supreme Court case of a few weeks ago that basically says, hey, if you're going to remove homeless folks sleeping on your benches and streets, you really need to have a place for them to go. And so to the extent that we can take all the steps that have been taken, get the state funds, look to our nonprofit charitable sector to support this, I think we can have a win-win where we have a facility that can take care of folks who find themselves homeless and need of help, but also can address some of the issues of folks that just choose to be on our streets and that we want to kind of move those folks along because of the problems that are associated with that. So I feel like we've made some real progress, and I appreciate the work of all of you on that issue. And it's just been so timely the way these things have kind of played out, especially with the Supreme Court decision. But any questions you guys have for me on this or any other issues? Is there anything that you think we need to be working on together?
Well, I personally want to say thank you. You called me 1 minute before I was on the radio, and I said, no, I won't announce it. I'll let you announce it. And you said, no, it was more important to get that announcement out, which then allowed the city and county to say, okay, now we don't have to come up with $450,000 and $500,000, but just $350,000. So I really do appreciate that, and I do appreciate you jumping in there because it's a difficult situation. There are two sides, and hopefully this will start us moving in a compromise situation to try and resolve these issues. And that is my only concern, is that you keep a monitor, watch what's going on, because I believe it's going to come to a head in the next couple of weeks of how we move forward and the city moves forward.
Good.
I just had one thing, a couple of, not really requests, but suggestions for us to be involved with the Boy Scouts and with the senior center in Westover. I would just encourage you to pass along to them that the way we work without a written request, we
Yeah.
don't really take action sua
Okay.
sponte. So if they want to make a request, then we can look at it and see if there's something we can do. But
Great.
that would be the way that would go.
Now, they are getting some grant funding
Right.
from us already.
Right.
I'm not sure, I can't really recall
the
off the top of my
fishing,
head if
was it-
that was for,
They had the fishing in the cart.
Card.
okay, so that had
That was
nothing to do with
that
the
was for the Boy
facility.
Scouts, yeah. And
Okay.
the senior center would be getting the funding they normally.
Now, they're getting
I
the
think they get
30,000 from Comcast, or they're gonna,
That was
no.
for the data.
Oh, that was for the other one. That's for
data
se-
center.
That's-
Yeah, and
That's a
for-
data.
That's Flex.
That's
Sorry, we're
still-
trying to get all
we're
these grants
Still trying
here.
to figure out which senior center that's going to go to.
oh, okay.
Yeah, Jeff, we don't act on
Sure,
on things where we
sure.
don't have written requests, just like the Bartlett. Yeah, the agreement, we have kind of a gentleman's agreement that we're going to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the formal ask yet from Catholic Charities. I imagine they got to get that to us pretty quickly, so we have actually something that we can act on in a meeting. But we do appreciate your help, because that was a $457,000 hole for the first year. And by you taking care of the $167,000, then that leaves about $308 that we needed to cover between us and the city. And we're still hoping that as the year goes along, they may be able to get some other grants reestablished and be able to come up with additional funding. But the hope is 2-3 years down the road that they're self-sufficient and they don't need that big infusion from the city and the county, and we're there to help whenever there's extraordinary issues and regular grant funding. In regards to the ditching effort, I think the way that usually works is when these entities bid on work, like even at the state level when they bid on DOH, they factor in a component for that safety aspect, and then they basically contract, the company basically contracts with the sheriff to pay for overtime for people to go sit and have their lights on to protect the worker. So I don't know what type of contract they have with Anderson, whether it's cost reimbursable, and it can be something that they can get approval to go ahead and set up that relationship with the sheriff. Going forward, they may want to factor that in. We'll make sure that they factor that into their bids, but I certainly expect that anytime they're working somewhere, like if they're working on Collins Ferry, they can have the city help. If they're working on, and I mentioned Collins Ferry because you and I both know that it's a very, very bad need for ditching there. Every year that overgrows. When it gets to the point where it's whacking off your mirror as you're going up Collins Ferry, it's about time they ought to cut this hill and ditch it. So it's due, which leads to my other question. When people want to put ditching efforts on a priority list, is that just done through the SWAT program, or is that how do they? I'm assuming they're getting their assignments from the Department of Highways, but how do you get the assignments on that list?
Gosh, don't hold me to it, but I think it's like 300 miles of ditching that's being done. Now that's
So it's already been predetermined.
A mile of road counts as two because you have two sides of the road. But
Yeah.
But that was part of the contract, and the maintenance plan goal for ditching is basically every paved surface to do it once every 3 years. So a third of the paved surfaces in the county should be ditched every year. And so then you're coming back around, on that schedule. That's the goal. And so what's happened is, because of limited DOH workers, they've fallen way behind on that schedule. So you have some areas that have been 3, 4, 5 years or more that haven't been properly ditched. And then the water, of course, does damage to the road and freeze and thaw.
The only other thing is, and I don't know how you can do it, but to work with the DOH, because we keep trying, the entrances, as you know, to our county and to our city. I know, and people say, well, it's because WVU football game's coming up, but it's also because you have the Penn State game. You're going to have a lot of people, a lot of national coverage coming in here.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just can't believe that we have so many grass and weed growing out of cement in the middle of the median.
Well,
I mean,
they have that because there's 3 or 4 years worth of cinders sitting there.
Yeah.
That's the dirt that they're growing out of, and if they can get out there with a skid steer and
anything that we
remove
could
that.
do starting now.
Might I suggest, and
Sure.
Councilwoman Wheezy.
Michael, yes.
Yeah, she expressed the same thing. Could we maybe write a joint letter from legislators, county commissioners, city councils, maybe we bring all our municipalities into it, to the DOH and say, hey, we really need help here. I want to give you just a really simple example that I have just watched visually. I have asked at this point now 5 DOH employees. I have pointed to a specific problem to 5 different DOH employees in administrative capacities.
Yeah.
Not just the guy out there working, digging a ditch. There is a pile of brush, leaves, and sticks on 705 between the Suncrest Town Center and Suncrest Village that has been there 11 months now. There's concrete median,
Yeah.
pile, it's composted there, and it's just there. And you just say, gosh, could we sweep the sides of the median and get rid of the cinders, that have been there? Could we spray? I asked about spraying. They said there's 2 different kinds of spraying. There's one spray is designed to, I guess one is designed to kill it temporarily. Another one is some more serious spray that's designed to never let it grow back or whatever.
Yeah.
I said, well, either, okay? But we just can't, so when you come off at Pierpont, you come into town, ba-boom, 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 all the way
Yeah.
down into town. Same thing at Star City. You come off Star City, all the way down to the bridge, and then you get to Sheets, and that intersection in front of you is awful. And the message that I have for DOH, and I repeat as often as I can, anywhere I can, is that Morgantown has to compete with Blacksburg, and Happy Valley, College Park, and Louisville, Pittsburgh, and
Right.
Cincinnati. That's who we compete with. So we have to try to have an appearance in our community commensurate with those communities for us to be able to compete for college students, for us to be able to compete for faculty and staff,
And business.
and for us to be able to compete with physicians
Yeah.
that are thinking about coming to our area. And so when someone comes off the interstate and sees that, their first thought can't help but be, wow, what am I coming into here? And I've used the term swaller with them in public meetings, and they don't like that. But I've tried to use that as just a declarative statement. We're living in swaller here, and we need these roads cleaned up. So I'll start a letter. We'll try to get everybody signed just to draw more attention to it. I don't know what else we can do.
No.
We're on our 3rd county highway supervisor in the 18 months that I've been back in office.
Yes.
And so there's administrative issues there. I've been in the commissioner's office, the secretary's office, and so to the extent that we can speak as one voice, I think it'd be helpful.
Okay. Sure.
Well, thank you very much, Mike.
Appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Great working with you.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate
Thank you.
all you do. Going back to reports from county commissioners, I know we're on a tight schedule today, so I don't really have, with the holiday, I don't really have a lot to report. I do want to remind people that we do not have a meeting next week, so put that in your calendars. And absent any other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.